So the new US digital currency is finally here. Starting in July of 2023, the Federal Reserve is launching FedNow. So by now you've probably seen this in the media, and many of the reports are saying that this digital currency is going to replace the US dollar. However, that's not the whole truth. And in this video, we're gonna uncover the truth, so be sure to stay to the end. All right, so you guys are here to know exactly what the impact of this digital currency is gonna have on us as a small business owner. So let's start there. Right now, with most digital currencies and blockchain technology, we've been able to experience a decentralized way of banking. And all that is a fancy way of saying, hey, look, nobody is really controlling the way that we transact money between each other. But see, now, governments are creating digital currencies. And if the government creates it, they control it. So right now there are 14 countries that are launching their digital currencies. This includes Nigeria, Singapore, the UAE, and of course China. And if we really think about it, digital currency not even long ago was considered to be some sort of scam or plaything that wasn't taken seriously. And now all of these governments are trying to incorporate it in their economy. So why is that? Well, if we think about how governments actually produce a majority of their income, it's through taxation. And obviously, if we have more control over the finances and over the transactions that happen within our program, we can produce more income. Now, there's some of you that may have already bought and sold cryptocurrencies before, and you know, depending on the account that they're in, we are actually taxed on those sales. However, if the entire country's currency is all centralized into this one digital form, and the government controls that one single digital form, then no matter what happens, every single dollar will be tracked. Now, here's the second theory. Second theory is not only controlling the money, but also controlling the people. So you probably heard by now that in China, they're actually fining people for jaywalking. Essentially, they're taking CCTV footage and monitoring criminal activities, and then they're gonna be texting or sending a fine, which brings up the conversation about a social credit score. And what that really means is the government can influence you by either incentivizing or punishing certain actions, which leads to the theory, hey, look, if I control access to your money, it's only gonna be that much easier to control your actions. All right, for example, let's just say that a government wanted to encourage some sort of consumption behavior. Like, hey, eggs are now $36 a carton, and we want you to buy more of these eggs, or we want you to buy less. Well, in theory, I mean, if they have access to the entire economy's money system, at the push of a button, they can control whether you actually can buy or you can't buy those specific products. And imagine that. Imagine going to a grocery store, knowing you have money in account, filling up the cart, getting over there, then putting everything out just to be told no at the cashier. That's the theory or concern around turning over an entire economy's money system to a digital currency that is owned by the government. But how does this affect small business owners? Well, the first thing is, if you do anything that the government doesn't want you to do, they'll have the ability to shut down your business. Now, in theory, they can do that now, right? But if you think about this, whatever that paper trail system looks like, it's probably still going to exist. But instead of having to go around from bank to bank to bank to try to freeze your access to your assets, well, they can just do it all from one centralized location. Now, the second thing has to do more with the social credit score. Now, regardless if this is going to happen or not, it's not too far-fetched to see how personal actions could potentially affect our ability to borrow money in the future, right? Really imagine that. Imagine if the social credit score became equally or more important than the traditional credit score. Not only do they want to see if you pay your bills on time, but now they want to see, hey, how well do you actually follow rules? How often do you jaywalk? And if that is the case, that potentially can put a lot more strain on us small business owners. But wait, is this actually what's happening now? Well, here's the real truth about FedNow. So the Federal Reserve has publicly stated that FedNow is not a digital currency. In fact, it's just a payment processing platform. Whew, that was a close one. So in fact, FedNow is not trying to completely eliminate cash. Instead, it's going to be a service provided to banks and credit unions. And the whole purpose is to speed up the processing time for checks and other electronic transactions. So the thought behind this is that FedNow wants to be able to provide access to our money a lot quicker. If we can really reduce the amount of processing time, the goal is that as soon as a check is deposited, we would get instant access instead of having to wait 2 or 3 days for processing or waiting over weekends and holidays. And if we think about it that way, then this could be a great way to boost the economy. But let's be honest. Do you think that this is a precursor to the digital currency? Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this is new to you, then you also need to be aware of some big changes that are coming to LLC owners in 2024. And you can check out that video right about here, and we're gonna put it in the description below. All right, see you guys in the next video.